First concern, and does a wonderful job. It's still going strong. Of course, it's in difficult times right now, so he's going to talk about a few things about what we can do on pro-life and what's going on. And so now I welcome Deacon Bob Conner.
Hello, everybody, and thank you for having me here today. I will be speaking, for the most part, extemporaneously. I just have a few things here to try to keep me on task. First of all, by means of introduction, my name is Deacon Bob Conner. I am assigned to St. Cecilia's in Leominster. I'm very happy to look out and see some familiar faces from St. Cecilia's here with us today. Welcome also to the Abbey. For those of you who may not have been here before, or you in for a treat, I absolutely love this place. I have been a daily communicant here for a number of years. Just one of the most Christ-centered places that I have ever been in the world. I have served the Mass at shrines in Europe, all across Italy. I have been to basilicas and cathedrals around this great country of ours. And it's funny, it's almost like that Wizard of Oz, you know, there's really no place like home. To have so many people here today to enjoy this talk, and to have so many people here today to witness and be present at the Abbey, it is a tremendous blessing. I hope that you're open to the graces that this beautiful location brings to all of you. When Laura first asked me if I would be able to come and speak today, I encountered probably what I would call 3 separate fears. And the first fear was, she said she needed me to talk for about a half hour. And my first fear was, oh my goodness, a whole half hour? But those of you who have heard me talk before, my second fear was, wait a minute, I'm only limited to a half hour? Because I will be talking to you, and truly, this is sort of extemporaneous. I'm just sort of, I don't want to say that I'm winging it completely. I pray to the Holy Spirit that He will guide me in this talk to you. But I hope that it will eventually make sense as well. My fourth fear, I suppose, if there were one, that after I committed to coming and speaking today and to meet you all, I realized that this is the weekend that I'm doing the homily at St. Cecilia's. So I'm the king of the 11th hour, the last minute procrastinator. So it's why I came a little bit late. It's why I will be leaving shortly after my talk as well, because I do have to go home and finish preparing before the 4 o'clock Mass. I will also do my best to speak clearly and loudly so all of you can hear me. There are times that, as my youngest daughter would say to me, she'd come to Mass, she's moved away now, but she would come to Mass at St. Cecilia's, and after I would deliver the homily, I would say to her, well, Erin, you know, how did you like it? How was it? And she'd say, Dad, will you just stop yelling at me? It's not that I'm yelling, it's that sometimes I can get passionate about the subject matter. And if there is any subject matter to be passionate about, it should be the aspect of pro-life. Being Catholic and being pro-life. Now these are 2 things that should go hand in hand. Parishioners at St. Cecilia's know a little something about me because I will speak about it on occasion. I was not always Catholic. I'm a convert to the faith. And similarly, in my life, I was not always pro-life. I was sort of the lukewarm pro-choice, where I didn't think that it was my responsibility to tell somebody else what they should or should not be doing, for me to make moral judgments about somebody else's choices. It was wrong of me to feel that way. So we often think, you know, this sort of chicken and the egg thing for me. Did I become pro-life and then become Catholic? Did I become Catholic and then become pro-life? And the 2 things sort of happened for me hand in hand. Because while you can be pro-life and not be Catholic. You really cannot be Catholic and not be pro-life. There are so many people, secular, Christian, of other denominations, Hindu, Jewish, that I have met that are pro-life. Don't ever sell the pro-life community short and having to be just one flavor. We'll talk in a little bit about the Pregnancy Resource Center that I helped to run for a number of years, and it is an ecumenical-based pro-life pregnancy resource center. We strongly focused on the things that we had in common and not on the things that separated us. And while I love my Catholic faith, I would never presume to think that someone who is devoutly pro-life is any less because they might not share my faith tradition. It's sort of like, I like to have a glass of bourbon every once in a while, right? And it's sort of like the Catholic and the pro-life thing to me, right? So like all bourbon is whiskey, but not all whiskey is bourbon. Mm-hmm. It's sort of that same way to think about it. All Catholics must be pro-life, but not all pro-life must be Catholic. Now, what made me pro-life, just for a little bit of background, it was examples in my life. And when I look back on them throughout my life, what is most surprising to me is that I was not pro-life earlier in my journey. I'm the youngest from a family of 7. If there is not a better example of a pro-life attitude, right? I gotta love a large family. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Being the youngest of 7 gave me opportunities to interact with all of my siblings. One of my siblings was a sister that was brought into our family by my mother. Her mother and father, my uncle and his wife, she had a car accident and she passed away, and they had 9 children and did not know, he could not handle them all. And so he sort of farmed them out to his brothers and sisters. And we took that little girl into our home. She became I was still the youngest, she became my next oldest sibling. But from the day that she came into our home, my mother made it extremely clear, you never call her your cousin. She is your sister. And I probably experienced some welts on my backside for the times that I neglected or got angry and did not recognize her as my sister. This is a pro-life example, to take in those who are in need. Because I am preparing for my homily, of course, I'm very deep into the scriptures for this 15th Sunday in ordinary time as well. And if there is a pro-life message, it can be beautifully woven into the scriptures that we hear this weekend. You know, Moses tells the Israelites, this command that I enjoin on you today is not too mysterious or remote for you. It's not up in the sky that you should say, will you go up into the sky and get it for us and tell us of it so that we may carry it out? It's not across the sea that you should say, who will cross the sea and get it for us and tell us of it that we may carry it out. No, it is something very near to you, already in your hearts and in your minds. You have only to carry it out. This is the pro-life message that we should all take away with our Catholic faith. We do not need anyone to tell us what is right. We only need to stand up and carry it out. One of the things that probably pushed me over the edge in coming to my Catholic faith in coming to my pro-life point of view was after I got married to my beautiful bride, Irene. I was still not a Catholic. But when we started to have children in our family, if there is something that will push you sort of over the edge, if you're on the fence, it's got to be the miracle of life so close to you. And after our first child was born and Irene became pregnant with our second child, both beautiful girls, I thought, this is easy, and this is great, and this is a tremendous blessing. It is unfortunate, though, that we then encountered a number of losses. And if there is one thing that will push you over the edge to a pro-life point of view, it is when you realize the beauty, the wonder, the magic of God's creation in your children, and then you lose them. Life goes on. Then, beyond our two first girls, was when the time that I started to come into the Catholic Church. Those were the things that sort of pushed me over the edge. That and the wonderful example that my bride always was for a good Catholic woman. We then move on, though, and something else that makes you appreciate life in all its splendor, and this happens as we get old, and certainly as we become the youngest of the family of 7, was when I had to bury my parents. You know, another chapter in life that teaches you about the sanctity and the beauty of God's life is the sadness of having to say goodbye, but also the hope, the eternal hope that we have for being with those loved ones again. After this, as if this were not enough, I had a brother, my oldest brother, who took his own life. If there is something that will take you and push you into the pro-life realm of thinking, it is to see someone who takes perhaps so lightly the value and the beauty of this gift that God has given each and every one of us. My next big milestone was my ordination. Our most blessed Bishop McManus ordained me 11 years ago, just a week or two ago was my anniversary. After 5 years of formation, and through some of these things that I've just spoken about with you, I was able to maintain, and our bishop, whom I have sworn my loyalty to him and his successors, and I could not be happier for that. He is truly a blessed, wonderful bishop that we have.
Yes.
Ordained me into the diaconate. And it was shortly after that ordination that I was invited to consider joining the staff of the board of directors for a pregnancy resource center called First Concern. They were based in Clinton. They had been around for a number of years. However, when I first joined the board, I was a little bit unsure. They were in a small little room just off of High Street, which is the main street in Clinton. You had to walk down, it was like a maze, this hallway to get to this space. It was probably about 300 square feet of space. And these people were truly doing God's work in counseling, in helping women who were fearful that they could not face and keep the children that they had found themselves pregnant with. Again, as I had mentioned earlier, an ecumenical organization started mostly, I would say, by evangelicals. I think I was the first Catholic that they had on their board. And within 2 short months, before they realized that I knew what was going on, the president of the board of directors resigned. They nominated me. And my head was still spinning to be offered the nomination to chair this organization. And they voted me in. I went immediately to our bishop and I asked for his blessing, which he immediately gave me, saying, we need more good Catholic men, not just clergy as yourself are, but we need more good Catholic men to be involved in this fight. And he's absolutely right.